Hello, my random viewers, and welcome to Randomly Offensive. Today, we are continuing the story of Nina Williams. And I am thinking that this might be a 6-part series, which will be my longest series of a character from the Tekken franchise that I have done thus so far, because I don't see an end or her conclusion coming anytime soon. And if you guys are okay with me doing these long stretches of characters of the same character until I have fulfilled the full story of that character, then I will keep doing that. However, if you guys would prefer breaks in between the long stories with shorter stories of other Tekken characters, then I can do that as well. Just let me know in the comments, because I do these for you guys, and I can do them however you guys want me to, because I enjoy talking about the Tekken characters, and I love talking about Tekken. It's just not the best conversation starter in the real world, but it's amazing content for YouTube, so I'm willing to do it either way that you guys want. Now, with that being said, we are going to do a quick recap, and then we are going to continue with the story of Nina Williams. God, I just love her name, and whenever I say it, I have to go into a radio voice. Now, in our previous videos, which if you have not seen them, they are linked at the tippy top of this video. Go on and click it on it, and then come on back. Now, with our previous videos, we have been through events with Nina where she was a test subject after multiple failures as an assassin and was completely revamped to feel no pain and have no emotions and have no memories. And throughout the fights in Tekken 3 and Tekken 4, her memories were slowly coming back, and it was causing sharpshooting pains in her head. And then she got a phone call from Anna telling her that she wanted to end this rivalry once and for all and decide who was the better sister and just the better assassin out of the two. So she called her old friend Lee, who was the one man to visit her every single day during the testings, and asked him if she could stay at his place for the next year in order to use his training equipment. Of course he accepts, because he loves testing out his new equipment and he loves testing out his inventions in order to grow his empire. And so with that, Nina goes to the facility that Lee owns, moves in for a year, and then they begin her training to defeat Anna once and for all. Now, one night during the year of her training at Lee's facility, she is drinking out of a bottle of whiskey. Lee is sitting across from her, shaking his head, not understanding how she could handle the pure taste of straight whiskey, as he makes himself a cocktail using Malibu, vodka, and sugary syrups, and tops it off with a strawberry and some whipped cream. And as he sips on his fancy drink, she then just blurts out the fact that she has a son, and this causes him to spit out his drink, and he looks at her, he's like, "I did not think you're the type to have relations." And she looks at him and says, "I haven't. I've never had any relations. Every memory that you have restored for me, I have no memory of ever being in a relationship or being pregnant." And so Lee is fascinated by this and begins to research all the events during the 19 years of her being a test subject, and he discovers that her son, Steve Fox, is indeed her son, but is not a son that she gave birth to. She was never pregnant with him. He was created from the DNA of Nina, and he was meant to be a perfect clone of Nina, and they actually created a whole life form from the DNAs of Nina. And so now we have this replica that was designed to replace Nina as the perfect soldier when they realized that Nina might someday become rogue. And so now we have this perfect clone, male version of Nina running around with no idea of his origins. And so, of course, Lee delivers this to Nina, but she has no emotion to it. So that's when he realizes that her emotions aren't fully restored, nor they may never be. And so they continue the testing, and after the year of Lee creating and inventing more and more equipment for training purposes, Nina maxes out every single one and gives Lee all the data he needs to try to create the perfect training system for the perfect fighter. And Nina reaches incredible heights. However, on the side during this year, Anna too is putting in lots and lots of training with constant target practice, and she has multiple masters in the assassination organization training her on the perfect killing techniques. And Anna's motivation here is to prove that she's better than Anna, but she also wants to, or better than Nina, I'm sorry, but she also wants to force Nina into submission and force Nina to get some memories back, not realizing that Nina is getting these memories restored herself. Lee then receives a letter for Nina, and he gives Nina the letter telling her that she got a new contract just days before the tournament. And so she goes to the location of the contract, and it is a complete empty wasteland, for the most part, of stores and restaurants that are abandoned. As she walks into one of the abandoned restaurants, a grenade is thrown at her feet, and instantly she kicks the grenade, and as it explodes, she jumps out the window of the restaurant with the explosion behind her. And as she stands back up, she sees Anna charging her with just tons of rifles and machine guns hanging onto her shoulder, on her back, with tons of guns, and she has a rocket launcher on her shoulder. Nina, coming to fulfill a contract, has multiple explosive knives in the holsters in her leg, and then she also has 2 handguns, one on each hip, with a sniper strapped to her back. And so a rocket launcher on Anna's shoulder shows that this fight is going to be intense, and she fires a rocket at Nina, and Nina dives out of the way as it explodes, and in the mid-dive, she throws the knife at Anna, and Anna dodges it. It goes into a sign right next to Anna, and as she looks at the knife is beeping, and she realizes it's a bomb, so she dives out of the way right before it explodes, and these two engage in a gunfight that lasts days, with each one every once in a while taking the upper hand. Nina will take the upper hand, and Anna manages to turn the tables of control and power and take the upper hand, with this continuing back and forth, with them exchanging who has the advantage. Now, Nina has less firearms than Anna, because Anna came very prepared, where Nina was caught off guard, and these two are having to crawl around the buildings as Nina is continuously keeping Anna at bay with her sniper, and then using her handguns whenever Anna takes a move to get closer, while Anna is spraying and spitting bullets everywhere, using her multiple machine guns to keep Nina in the same spot. Now, these two are equal when it comes to explosions, firepower, skill, and aim. And so this fight is somewhat of a stalemate, and it lasts for days until finally they only have a few hours before the 5th King of the Iron Fist tournament. So Anna and Nina decide that it is a draw, and they will continue this in the 5th King of the Iron Fist tournament, and so they go to the tournament. Now, as Nina approaches, she sees Lee at the front stand selling tickets, and she just looks at him. She's like, "You're a ticket agent now?" And he looks at her and just goes, "I'm whatever I want to be, wherever I'm needed," and stamps her hand and lets her in as submission, even though that was completely unnecessary. She's one of the competitors. And so she goes in there, cleaning off the stamp off her hand, slightly annoyed from Lee, but letting him off easy. So, with this beginning, the first round of the tournament starts, and she sees Paul Phoenix as he waves to her very happily, thinking that she is one of his friends. And Paul Phoenix is going up against Brian. And Nina remembers the fierce power of Brian and feels a little worried about Paul Phoenix, which then makes her realize that she's getting some emotions back, because apparently, emotionally, she has some type of connection with Paul Phoenix because she's worried about him, but also being worried and concerned is an emotion. And so she decides to act on this emotion and goes to Paul and asks if he's gonna be okay against this man, and he just gives her a big smile and I'm gonna do just fine, this is gonna be great, and decides to go against Brian. And I will cover this fight when I cover Brian's story. Now, with Nina's first round beginning, she is going up against Asuka. Now, Asuka is an amazing character that I'm gonna have to delve into when I cover her story. Asuka is an incredible martial artist. She's great at karate. Asuka Kazuma is the cousin of Jin Kazuma, but does not have as tragic of a story, but she is there to confront Kazuo Mishima. Now, this fight begins, and it is a decent fight. Asuka begins the fight by throwing many rotating roundhouses. However, Nina's dodging every single one, to Asuka's surprise. See, Asuka, this is her first tournament, and she doesn't really have a good idea of what these fighters are actually capable of, nor does she have an idea of what the OGs, the original fighters, have been through, and the character arc developments that they have experienced. And so Asuka was just assuming that every fighter there was a great fighter indeed, for sure, but she also was assuming that she was going to be the equal to these fighters, not realizing what these fighters are about. And so every punch she throws at Nina manages to dodge, and Asuka is a great fighter, and you can see that she has had incredible training, but Nina dodges all these attacks without having to block a single one. And she's seeing Asuka get angry and angrier and angrier, and she's realizing that Asuka has motivations, and so she catches the punch of Asuka and asks her, "Why are you fighting?" And Asuka says to confront Causewa, and so she just looks at Asuka and tells her, well then, confront him. Don't use the excuse of a loss to not confront him. Do not enter the tournament and play these games thinking that fighting him is the only way to do what you need to do. And with that, she strikes Asuka down, wanting to knock her out for the fight, but Asuka gets back up and tells her that she's not going to lose, and that in order to send the message across, she must beat Kazuo down. And Nina smiles at this, knowing that Asuka would never stand a chance, so she gets into a fighting stance and uses her hands to signal Asuka to bring it on. And bringing it on is what Asuka does. With all her might, all her power, she is sending strikes to Nina that Nina is blocking easily at this point, and Asuka is trying to block the strikes of Nina. However, Nina is able to rotate her attacks into different attacks. For example, if she throws a right hook and Asuka's about to block it with her bicep, Nina rotates her elbow and wrist in a fluent motion, connecting into an uppercut. Asuka does not stand a chance with the power either. Or the strikes that Nina connect with, which is every single strike she throws, has so much power it knocks Asuka down every single time. Nina doesn't even have the ability to deliver combinations because Asuka doesn't even have the strength to continue standing after one blow. And so Nina's watching this kid get back up over and over and over and over after being knocked down by these intense, powerful strikes. And Asuka decides that she is going to try to end this with a certain technique. And so she runs up and manages to fake an attack towards Nina's face, which Nina does fall for, and then she uses her left hand and shoves her fingers with a spearing strike into between the ribs of Nina. And as she looks at Nina, as Asuka looks at Nina, Nina shows no reaction to this, and it terrifies Asuka, and she pulls her hands out saying, "You should be down, you should be in tremendous pain." And Nina looks at her saying, "I don't feel pain. I barely feel anything." And she delivers a roundhouse that throws Asuka flying across the ring, and Asuka gets up one more time, barely being able to see. Her vision is blurry, her legs are shaky, and she can barely walk forward. And Nina is astonished and impressed, and she is somewhat admiring this kid because Nina never had this kind of perseverance in the first two tournaments. She didn't even have that perseverance in the third tournament. And so she's realizing that she has so much growth, not necessarily when it comes to combat, but just when it comes to willpower. She has to evolve. And so she walks up to Asuka and tells Asuka to never give up and to never stop training, and then puts her in a chokehold and chokes the kid out until she is no longer conscious and drops her before, of course, Asuka dies. So she doesn't want to kill the kid. So just right as Asuka loses consciousness, she lets go, and the win goes to Nina. Now, in the first round, Anna went up against Causewa, and Causewa took the fight. He won. And so, Nina does not get to take on Anna at all in this tournament, meaning that she never gets the chance to have that rematch with Anna. However, the opponent she's going up against in the second round is Kazuo. And so because of that, she has a chance to prove to her and prove to Anna that she could have beaten Anna in a fight. If she can beat Kazuo, beat the man that beat Anna, then of course she will prove her superiority over Anna. And Anna is in the stands watching, hoping that Nina does not beat Kazuo because she understands what that would mean as well. And this is a chance for Nina to beat Anna without fighting Anna. And this is a chance for her to reconcile their relationship after proving her superiority, because that needs to be done. And so she gets ready to take on Kazuo Mishima. And of course, the past two times that she has taken on Kazuo, he has won every time. Nina has never stood a chance against Kazuo, but she doesn't care. She is ready to fight this monster of a man. Now, if you have played Tekken 5, you will know that I am absolutely taking creative liberties within the arcade story mode of Nina, and the reason why is because of the continuity within the story of Nina and Anna. You see, Tekken 5 is where it gets incredibly complicated with the continuity and what is canon and what is not canon. And due to it technically being the last game, where the arcades were the story mode. However, the majority of the arcade for every character was non-canon unless you're dealing with Jin Kazuma. Jin Kazuma's arcade was the only canon story, and so trying to keep the continuity within Tekken 4 and Tekken 6 for Nina, I have to take creative liberties, and I have to throw away some of the things that happened in the arcade due to them just being for fan service, or due to them thinking the story was going to go a different direction when it did not. And so because of that, I am absolutely taking some creative liberties, and I did my best to keep the continuity within the canon story, and this was the best way I could think of to do this. And so with that being said, let's get into this fight. Kazuo dives in and sends a massive straight punch to Nina, which Nina manages to block and then push it over her shoulder, rotating her body around and then flipping Kazuo over her shoulder by swinging his arm downwards, flipping him on his back onto the ground with tremendous force. He jumps right back up and jumps in the air, delivering multiple spinning kicks as he goes downwards. She manages to dodge the first two, going lower and lower. However, with his kicks getting lower and lower, she's running out of places to go. So the Shen leans backwards, dodging the third kick. However, the fourth kick, as he finally hits the ground, sweeps her legs out from under her, and then he stands up with an uprising kick. So in the middle of her falling down, he connects to the back of Nina, sending her flying upwards. He then catches her above his head and slams her down head first into the ring. He then gets her into an arm lock, forcing Nina down, trying to break her arm. However, Nina doesn't feel the pain from any of this, so she then just manages to stand up, even though that's causing her arm to contort even more. And you see, when you don't feel pain, being contorted and getting your arm grappled isn't going to really do much, because the only thing that makes it work is the pain that you feel when you try to go up against it. Since she doesn't feel pain, she can just push Kazuo off of her. She then rotates her arm back to where it needs to be, delivering a massive roundhouse to the jaw of Kazuo. And now they are bobbing and weaving, dodging, sidestepping, blocking, and counter-striking each other with these strikes. And Nina is standing a much better chance than she ever did in the first round, in the first game, when she went up against Kazuo. And Kazuo is doing everything he can to beat Nina. However, Kazuo's Devil Genes has not been restored in this game, meaning Nina actually stands a chance, unlike many of the fighters that went up against him in Tekken 2 and in the future Tekken games. And so, with this fight continuing, they are just going back and forth, bobbing and weaving, dodging, because even though Nina can't feel pain, she knows that after a while her body will give out, and she understands the kind of threat that Kazuo Mishima is. Nina manages to deliver a blow that sends Kazuo down to the ground, and as Kazuo stands back up, Nina is already in a defensive stance, waiting for Kazuo to retaliate. Kazuo looks at her and goes, "You're not very cocky this time, are you?" And Nina responds with, "You've given me a reason not to be." And with that, Kazuo dives in, sending a barrage of attacks that Nina is dodging and blocking gracefully. And instead of depending on her ability not to feel pain, she is reverting back to her old ways of contorting her body and rotating with attacks that is causing the force and the power of these strikes to not go straight into her body, but instead releasing them into the air. However, with the onslaught that Kazuo is sending out, Nina can only do this for so long, and she realizes this. And then she decides that she needs to do a move that will end the fight. Realizing what she's about to do, she grabs the shoulder of Kazuo so that he has nowhere to go, and she is squeezing his shoulder so hard that her fingers begin to dig into the skin and flesh of Kazuo, and then she finally breaks the flesh of Kazuo, and her fingers legitimately dig into the shoulder, causing blood to squirt out of every hole that her finger has created. And Kazuo is using his other arm to punch Nina, but she can't feel pain, and she's going to take advantage of this fact. She then cocks her arm back and delivers a very unhumanly strong attack directly to the face of Kazuo, and this strike is so strong, it shatters the hand of Nina, and it also snaps the arm as well. But since Nina can't feel pain, this punch doesn't let up. It continues and follows through all the way through, and her punch goes flying past his face after already connecting his face, as if she's punching through a wall, and Kazuo goes down, and it was enough to knock the bastard out. And it was such a powerful punch, it caused the ring to shake. And seeing that from Nina is extraordinary, because she is not as strong as many of these fighters. But now that she's had the ability to combine all her techniques with the advancements that she has from being a guinea pig, she was able to deliver one of the most massive blows in the Tekken franchise. And with that, she was able to not only take the win, but prove to Anna that she has the superiority. Now, with that being said, she has decided not to continue the tournament, which would have been against Jin Kazuma. And so she goes to Anna and tells Anna that I am superior to you in fighting, but maybe you're better than I am in pool. Give me a call. And with that, she leaves the tournament completely. And after a while, her arm and hand has had time to heal, and Anna calls her, accepting the challenge to a game of pool. And so they meet up at a bar, and there is Lee as the bartender, serving martial law, forest law, and Paul Phoenix. Nina looks at him, "You're a bartender now?" And he responds yet again with, "I'm whatever I want to be, wherever I am needed." Lee then continues, "I have to take care of these cheapskates," he says, as he points to Paul Phoenix, who is yelling at him for another beer, and tells them, "I will gladly serve you ladies drinks. However, could you take care of that man?" And he points to a guy with a mohawk who is chasing away all his customers and being very aggressive. Nina looks at him and then looks back at Lee. He looks like someone you could deal with. And Lee laughs. No, he has a knife, and I don't want to be stabbed. You two, on the other hand, have experience in that area. And so he goes and takes care of Paul Phoenix, martial law, and forest law, as Nina and Anna start a game of pool. Anna then, bending over to play the game, purposefully, accidentally hits the guy with her butt, causing him to get knocked over. And then, as he spins around very upset, she then brings the cue stick back to play the game and nails him in the balls. Then she acts shocked, and as she spins around, she purposefully, accidentally again smacks him upside the head with the cue stick and going, "Oh, I'm sorry." And Nina then walks around to where she is behind the guy, and as the guy pulls out his knife and starts getting very angry and threatening Anna, Nina and Anna just deliver an onslaught, beating the crap out of this guy, kicking him back and forth, tossing him back and forth to each other as if he is some type of ball that they are playing volleyball with. They then kick him out of the bar and cause him to be completely knocked out. And Lee just looks at him, gives him a thumbs up, and smiles. And through the duration of this game, they have conversations, and they're enjoying each other's company, finally getting to bond as sisters. And as they're leaving the bar, Nina and Anna both, at the exact same time, get a phone call. So they walk away from each other just a little bit as they answer these phone calls. When Nina answers the phone call, it is Jin Kazuma, who is now the head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, and Jin offers her a position to be his personal bodyguard in the Mishima Zaibatsu, and she accepts for it as a very high-paying, good job. As she gets off the phone, she looks at Anna, and Anna looks at Nina getting off of her phone. Nina then says, "I just got offered to be Jin's personal bodyguard at the Mishima Zaibatsu." And Anna laughs at this and says, "I was just offered to be the bodyguard of Kazuo Mishima at the G Corporation, knowing that these two are getting ready to engage in World War III, and they are enemies. Nina and Anna both smile at this, knowing what this means, and so they give each other a fist bump and look at each other, knowing that they will be engaging in many, many, many gunfights in the future, and that their paths will cross again as enemies. And Anna says, "Kill you later, big sister," and Nina nods as they walk to their separate paths for their future to become even more entangled as sisters and even more complicated. And that is where I will be leaving this video off. Nina is now the bodyguard of Jin Kazuma. World War III is starting, and Nina and Anna are on opposing sides, with another assassin by the name of Raven receiving a contract to kill Nina and Anna both. With all of this said, there is a new character brewing by the name of Lars, and he is a rogue Tekken Force commander. And so, with the plot brewing and Nina's story finally taking a solid place in the Tekken franchise and no longer being non-canon stories in the arcade, but being a legit character and having a solid story within World War III and within the Tekken 6 and Tekken 7 events, I am very excited to continue this story. And I normally stick to at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 games per video. However, Nina's stories get so complicated in Tekken 6 and 7 that I'll probably have to do 2 videos on each of those games, making this a very long series, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. And with that being said, do not get hit by a meteor, take care of yourselves, and bye.